Merry New Year's, everybody, and welcome back to another Patreon rant. If you want one of these for yourself, be sure to give me $10 a month on Patreon. This one comes from Deck Devil YGO, who says, rant about the misadventures of 4chan, because Lord knows that is an endless can of flaming garbage you can yap about. So, I don't know a whole lot about 4chan's misadventures outside of the videos I've made and or attempted to make. And indeed, a lot of the misadventures I do know about are going to be videos in the future. So instead, I wanted to fixate on one specific 4chan story that I tried throughout November and December to make a video on, and unfortunately, it just fell through. I'm not going to go into why the topic fell through. Maybe I will a little bit, but the main thing that I'm going to do is tell this story in a very condensed fashion rather than through a big-ass YouTube video that I never ended up making, unfortunately. It's called Rubyquest. So back in 2008, I believe, late 2008, early 2009, on 4chan's TG board for traditional games, there was this phenomenon called Rubyquest. Rubyquest is this interactive story puzzle adventure by this man named Weaver, or going by Weaver. And it's about this anthropomorphic rabbit and this cat who adventure through this medical facility, and as they go through, they meet horrors beyond comprehension. So the reason why I initially got into this story is because someone had commented it on one of my videos, like, hey, have you ever heard of Rubyquest? It's very similar to horse race tests. And I was like, that's kind of interesting. And I expected it to be pretty, upbeat and fun, because my impression of it before I learned more about it was that, okay, it's a bunch of 4chaners who can take this story in whatever direction they want. It's gonna become a sex-filled fucking nightmare. It's going to be ridiculous. But in actuality, and probably one of the first signs that I shouldn't have made this video, it's a very cohesive story. Weaver was very... he would sometimes play into jokes that the audience would make, but he would generally keep things on track because he had this grander story he wanted to tell. And while people, could control the characters and move it ostensibly in whatever direction they wanted at whatever pace they wanted, in reality, the facility only has so many things in it and so many ways you can reasonably progress. You can't just say, and then Ruby gained magical vampire powers, because somebody tried that, and Weaver said, unfortunately, Ruby does not have any latent vampirical powers. So, it's essentially a puzzle game. You are playing as someone with normal human abilities trying to make it out of this facility, and as you go through it, you realize more and more, there's zombies everywhere, and people are dying and going insane, and it is in general hell. It is complete hell, and it is your job to escape the facility. And there's tons of characters. The story is very complicated, but it's very complicated in a weird way. It's complicated because its mechanics... Okay, so the way it works is that if you just read the story without the context of the 4chan threads, I think it does not make as much sense as if you read it in the context of the 4chan messages. Because the first time I read Rubyquest, I'll be honest, I didn't really understand it as well as I probably should have if I was making a video on it. And it was only by going back through and looking at all the threads and looking at what people were saying about it that I realized Weaver's panels were a response to, I knew this subconsciously, but they very much are a response to people speculating in chat. And, the story progresses based on that. It's a back and forth conversation. And so if you only look at the panels of the webcomic compiled, without the 4chan influence, you don't get the full conversation, and you're not going to understand the lore on a deeper level. And it's only through seeing the conversation and seeing speculation and seeing how Weaver is playing off of it that you get a sense for how this story came to be. And in that sense, it is interesting, but the reason why it didn't make for a good video was that there just wasn't that much conflict. Weaver, sure, there was some trolling, and it did get pretty bad at certain points, but In general, it went pretty smoothly. People liked Rubyquest, so it's not that wild of a story, honestly. I'm not sure if I'm doing this rant topic justice, but the wilder stuff is there's stories I want to tell in full proper videos, so I'll leave those unspoiled for now. That's about it. See ya.